David Alpert of Mastery Consulting. So one of the products we offer is what we call the Board of Directors. And the Board of Directors is just advanced business coaching for higher end business professionals who are serious about their craft. And what we do for that is we have, 10 or 12 or so people from different professions meet once a month at my home for a full day, 8-hour session of preparing, distributing, and sharing financials, strategic plans, problems and solutions, critical drivers, projected organizational chart. It's really a very high-level board type meeting. So why do I mention this to you? Because we have some rules of the game, if you will, for these board meetings. And rules of the game are how we're going to play and interact with each other at a higher level. So if you're interested in raising your game as a businessman or a businesswoman, one of the rules of the game is we must operate out of both identity and vulnerability in anything we do with each other. What on earth does this mean? Well, in a way, this is about mindset. And mindset, if you think about the derivation of the word implies that we can reset our minds, that attitude and the way we carry ourselves is a choice. I recommend strongly that if you wish to build a great business and interact on a high level with other great business owners, you need to wear your identity and vulnerability simultaneously on your sleeve. So what am I trying to say with all of this? What is identity? Identity is strength, knowing your power, knowing your ability to influence, knowing you were put here for a purpose. We've been through some heavy challenges in my life, my wife and I, and not that long ago went through one of the heaviest. In fact, I remember the day, March 10th, 2017, worst day of my life, and from the point of this video, it wasn't that long ago. Interestingly enough, we had somebody visit us, a pastor visited us from England, who stayed at the home only about a week or two later, and he came to visit and spent time with me. Really, it was interesting because he was doing Bible studies with me and trying to encourage me, but one of the things he spent a lot of time on, interestingly enough, was on my own self-identity. The power I had to be used and that I had value in life and here in this place. And one of the things he said to me was, "Hey, Dave, what's your name?" I said, "David, of course." "What does it mean?" I said, "Well, I guess if you Google it or Wikipedia it means beloved." "And who are you named after?" I said, "Well, I was named after my grandfather." And he said, No, who are you named after?" And I said, "Well, I was named after a king, I guess." "That's right, you're beloved king. That's your birthright." "What's your middle name, David?" "My middle name is a Hebrew name, Ariel, A-R-I-E-L. "What does it mean?" Ari means lion. El stands for Eloheinu, God, lion of... He said, "Your God-given birthright is beloved king, lion of God. What does a king do for a living?" "Well, he rules." "Yes." "How?" "Well, I suppose with authority." Real quick on the word authority. Authority does not mean what most people think it is. Authority does not mean being a jackass or a jerk to people. Authority literally means, the derivation of the word means, you are the author of ideas. You are the creator or the influencer of ideas. So a king rules with influence, with the creation of ideas. Who does the king rule? Well, the king rules a kingdom. What's a kingdom? Well, the derivation of that word is from the domain of a king. Domain is a French word for the house. The king rules his house. What's his house? I'm going to argue for you who are business people here. Your house is, your home is your sphere of influence, your past clients, your friends, your family, your neighbors, your professional contacts, your database, basically, your network, right? Okay, so this is who we rule. And he told me, this man, Raphael, he said, "You must walk in your identity." What would you have done yesterday in your business if you truly operated as a king or a queen? What would you have done differently in your business yesterday if you operated as a king or queen? What more would you have done? What less would you have done? Would you have delegated more? What would you delegate? What activities and actions would you stay engaged in? Interestingly enough, who would you hang out with? My perception is that kings and queens hang out with other kings and queens, or very high-level counselors, but not necessarily anyone and everyone. Well, what I'm trying to get at with identity is that when we're operating our business and engaging with higher level people, we need to act and aware that we have a purpose here and we have gifts, talents, and power. Use them, people. with humility, of course. That's where vulnerability comes in, right? So you can't build a business without the self-esteem, if you will, that we usually don't generate well for ourselves and we need from better sources. But we need that combined with vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Well, it's a combination of two factors. Humility. What does humility mean? Humility means we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers and we need other resources. We need mentoring. We need role modeling, okay? We need that kind of humility. Humility is a prerequisite for business growth. It is impossible to build something spectacular without humility. Impossible, it's required. So vulnerability requires humility. Vulnerability also requires transparency. So what does that mean? It means you gotta share your stuff. You want me to put it more bluntly? You gotta share your junk, your crap. In business, when I work with higher level business folks, some of them, when you review their financials, they ain't very good. They sure don't look as good as the people look themselves on the surface, if you know what I mean. The reason their financials and their assets and their wealth have not built is not because they don't want it to build or have a desire or work ethic. It's simply because they hide it. They're so embarrassed about the circumstances or the results currently that they hide it and brush it under the rug because they don't want to look uncool. If you're overly concerned with what other people think about you, you cannot run a great business, you cannot build wealth, you cannot have a great family life, and on and on and on. We need to transparently share. What gets brought to the light improves. So true in business. So vulnerability is also required, which means we must share the things we have trouble with and not be embarrassed about it, right? We need to bring it to the light so we can get feedback and so we can take action to work on it. You gotta acknowledge that kind of stuff, but we have to do it with a sense of with identity and authority, if you will, which means the strength to know we have an ability to build something better for ourselves. My question for you today is, based on these principles, these mindset principles of both identity and vulnerability, what might you tweak in the way you interact with other business owners?